So we have seen how to display these pop-up messages, right? So one is data types and variable uh, loosely typed scripting language, and then unlike them. Important concept in JavaScript. There are three concepts very frequently we use in JavaScript. One is functions, second one is objects, and third one is arrays. So 90% of the programming will use these things: functions, and then objects, and then arrays. So what is meant by a function? And so what is meant by function? General. Right. We can say it is a block of source code which can perform a particular task. Okay, which can perform a particular task. So we can write functions in different ways. Like here, let us see that. See, I'm writing it as a non-returnable function, for example. If the function is not going to return any value, we will write, say something like a function. I'm writing something like show name or something. Okay. So, I'm calling show name, right? It's a function name. And what I'm displaying is here, say my name is something like Sathesh. My name is Sathesh. When you define like this function will not be executed because we have defined the function, but we did not call the function. So we are supposed to call the function and then show name. I'm calling the function. If you run it now, right click here, inspect, console. My name is Sathesh. And again, I'm calling the function show name. How many times you call that function? That many times the definition is going to be executed. So functions are used when some part of a program or some group of statements, if you want to, or some business logic, if you want to reuse for number of times in the application, we use the functions concept. And now here, if you see, every time it is displaying this one, I want to make this name as dynamic. So here I'm passing one variable here. Strongly typed programming law, while you're writing the parameters, we are supposed to specify the data type of the parameter also. Data type of the parameter, but here I'm not specifying any data type. So my name is Satish. Here, what I'm doing is, I want to write that name. Okay. But, my name is undefined. JavaScript law, when there is a parameter in the function definition, but while you're calling the function, if you are not passing the parameter, when there is a parameter in the function name, and while you're calling the function, if you are not passing the parameter, it will give you undefined. Now, here, for example, here I'm passing Satish, and then say here, Anil, Raman. My name is Satish, my name is Anil. Okay, so 2 times I'm calling the function here, and this function is not returning any value. The next one, returnable function, for example. I'm writing something like a function, say here sum a comma b. I want to return a plus b, for example. So sum is a function. For that, we are passing 2 parameters a comma b, and that function is going to return a plus b. Now here, what I will do, console.log directly sum 10 comma 20. So this function is going to return a value. That return value directly we are printing it. Sum is 30. Okay, now we are calling that. In the flow, if I pass the value something like this, so what will be the output of this one? Concatenation, right? 1020 it will come. So number plus string plus operator will act as a concatenation operator. So 1020 it is given. Right. The same if I write a minus b, what happens is here? -10 వస్తుంది. ఇక్కడ ఏమవుతుందంటే there is an option called coercion. Done. Coercion refers to the automatic or implicit conversion of values from one data type to another. Okay, so this we call it as a normally coercion. Okay, so coercion refers to the automatic or implicit conversion of values from one data type to another. This can happen in various situations such as when performing operations on mixed data types. అయితే ప్లస్ ఉన్నప్పుడు coercion ఎందుకు జరగట్లేదు? Because plus has a overloaded definition for the concatenation. Plus has a overload definition for the concatenation. That is why plus ఉన్నప్పుడు concatenate అవుతుంది. Minus ఉన్నప్పుడు coercion జరుగుతుంది. So I'm taking it out. Right. So this is one. Next one, function function with variable number of arguments. Yeah, function with variable number of arguments. There are two different ways of doing it. ES5 లో ఒకలాగా చేస్తాం, ES6 లో ఒకలాగా చేస్తాం. Now let us understand the ES5 function, something like someone. I'm not passing any parameters. In JavaScript, every function will have by default arguments array. Okay, so every function, yeah. Every function in JavaScript has a special property called arguments, which is an array like object that contains all the arguments passed to that function. So I'm taking that like here variable, something like total equal to 0. Now for where I equal to 0, I less than arguments dot length I plus plus, total equal to total plus arguments of I want to print it here itself, console.log total. Now when you are calling this function, say someone, say here 10 comma 20, and then someone 10 20 30, someone 10 20 30 40. Now if you run this, see, so we can pass variable number of arguments to the same function. That is possible with the help of arguments array, and that is in the ES5. In the ES6, there is a concept called rest parameters. Now time being, here with the help of the arguments array, we are able to do it. So in ES5, in JavaScript, every function will have by default arguments array as a parameter. Next one, here I'm writing that function expression. Function expression. We will assign variable something like multiplication equal. I'm writing a function a comma b, return a comma b. We are assigning the function to a variable. That variable will act exactly like that function. That variable will act exactly like that function. Now here console.log multiplication of 10 comma 20. Run this on. So 10 into 20, 200. That is function expression. And one more thing, actually, when we function define చేసినప్పుడు function expressions are used to create anonymous functions. Anonymous function is nothing but function without any name. We are writing a function without any name. Function name that is called anonymous function. So these function expressions are used to create anonymous functions. Function without any name, defining it is an anonymous function. Next one, IFI, immediately invocable function expression. So an IFI is a JavaScript function that runs as soon as it is defined. So దీన్ని మనం separate గా call చేయాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు. Whenever you define the function, at the time it will execute. No need of explicit invocation of IFI. Now here function, something like display or something I'm writing like this. Now hello world, or here I'm writing that this is display function. This is display function. Now I can enclose it within this parenthesis. Okay, this is going to be executed as and when we define. And when you are defining the ifs and all, no need of giving the function name also. As and when we are defining, we are calling it. Then we'll separate the function name and name was also. This is called IFI. Next one, we can pass the default arguments, default parameters to a function. Like here, function, something like sum2 or something, a comma b equal to 100 and say, return a plus b. అవుతుందంటే కన్సోల్ లాగా సమ్ ఆఫ్ 2 వన్ పారామీటర్ పాస్ చేస్తాం. అప్పుడు సెకండ్ పారామీటర్ వాల్యూ 100 తీసుకుంటుంది. 100 ప్లస్ 10 110. ఒకవేళ మీరు సెకండ్ పారామీటర్ కూడా ఇచ్చారనుకోండి, లైక్ 25 అన్నారు, 35 వస్తుంది. సెకండ్ పారామీటర్ ఇస్తే ఇట్ టేక్స్ ద వాల్యూ, ఇవ్వకపోతే ఇట్ టేక్స్ ద డిఫాల్ట్. అయితే డిఫాల్ట్ పారామీటర్స్ ఎప్పుడు కూడా లాస్ట్లో ఉండాలి. ఫస్ట్ మ్యాండేటరీ పారామీటర్స్ రాయాలి, తర్వాత డిఫాల్ట్ పారామీటర్స్ రాయాలి. ఓకేనా? దట్ ఈస్ డిఫాల్ట్ పారామీటర్స్. తర్వాత arrow functions, and these arrow functions are there in the ES6 one. We don't have these things in the ES5. So arrow functions allow you to write shorter function syntax. And then here I'm writing like this, where add equal to a comma b. ఇక్కడ arrow function syntax ఎట్లా వస్తుందంటే lambda expressions అంటాం, ఇతను లేదంటే just ఇట్లా వస్తుంది syntax. Or we can call them as a fat arrow functions. In the JavaScript, we call them as a fat arrow functions. In Java and C# lo వీటిని మనం lambda expressions. సో ఇక్కడ add equal to is a function and this is the definition. అయితే ఇక్కడ ఏమవుతుందంటే యాక్చువల్గా ఇట్లా కదా మన డెఫినేషన్. మన ఇందులో I want to execute that a plus b, return a plus b. ఓకే, ఇక్కడ return a plus b అన్నప్పుడు ఈ return statement, we have only one statement. We don't have the multiple statements here. When we have only one statement, what we can do, we can take it out. We can write it like this. We can take out the return and simply you can write a plus b. Return a plus b. This a plus b and arrow function definitions low. If you write single statement like this, by default it will have the return. By default it will have the return. So it is going to return the a plus b. By default it will have the return statement. And sometimes, for example, here I'm calling it, atlage add one. If you don't want to pass two parameters, if you want to pass only one parameter, and here I want to return that something like here a plus 100, you can write like this, only one parameter. If one parameter ఉన్నప్పుడు we can write like this also. If you have only one parameter a and then a plus 100, we can write like this also. ఇక్కడ మనకు parentheses రాయలేదు ఇక్కడ, అంతే కదా. ఇక్కడ పారామీటర్ parentheses ఉన్నాయి, ఇక్కడ parentheses కూడా రాయాలి. Without having a knowledge of arrow functions, if you see this one, you cannot understand it is a function. Okay, ఇట్లా కూడా రాయొచ్చు. If you don't have any parameters here, we can write like this, only empty parentheses. It will work all the things. Okay, na? So this is about functions concept. Clear? Okay. Next one. For example, what I'm doing is variable a equal to 100. And then here I'm defining function, something like show. So variable a equal to 100, console.log a. Right. After this one, I'm calling the function. After that, I'm printing the console.log a. So what will be the output of this program? ఇక్కడ ఎంత ప్రింట్ అవుతుంది మనకి 200. ఇక్కడ ఎంత ప్రింట్ అవుతుంది 2 ప్రింట్ అవుతాయా? ఒకటేగా మనం వాల్యూ ప్రింట్ చేస్తుంది 2 ఎట్లా? ఇక్కడ 100 ప్రింట్ అవుతుంది. I'll tell you why it is. అంతేనా? ఇప్పుడు ఏమవుతుందంటే if I remove this var keyword, now what will be the output? Here it will print 200. Okay na? Here it will print 200. Here also it will print 200. Okay. Now you see this 200. Variable scope. Okay. Global scope. Variables declared outside of any function will have the global scope. ఒకటి. రెండోది ఇక్కడ and variables inside the function without var keyword. Okay na? So global variables అంటే variables declared outside of any function and variables inside the function without var keyword, global variables. Now here I have not used the var keyword, right? When you are not using var keyword, it is a global variable. Global variable already we have a. So now this a and this a both are same. That is the reason when you are assigning the value 200, it is going to store the value in the same memory location. So if you print it inside the function or outside the function, it is giving the same. Next one here, local variables inside the function with var keyword. ఇప్పుడు ఈ ఫంక్షన్ లోపల if I give the var keyword, it is a local variable. Now this is also a, this is also a, but this a is different, this a is different. Both will have the different scopes. So this variable will have the scope within this function, this variable will have the global scope. Okay. So that is the difference between a local variable and a global variable. Inside the function, if you declare a variable with var keyword, it is a local variable. Without var keyword, it is a global variable. Okay na? Clear? Right. Next one, we have something called hoisting. So hoisting, JavaScript hoists variable declarations and function declarations to the top of the current scope. So hoisting is a JavaScript mechanism where variables and function declarations are moved to the top of their containing scope before code execution. Okay. And next one, this means that no matter where the functions and variables are declared, they are moved to the top of their scope, current scope. The current scope, global or local. Let me tell you this one. Like here, first of all, I'm printing that console.log something like a. Okay. So what is this? 6 here, right? try. So now this is a reference error. A is not defined. So we have not defined the A. So this is a reference error, right? Now variable A equal to 100. Variable A equal to 100. Now run this one. Now it is defining, it is showing that undefined. It is not showing that reference error. Okay, it is not showing the reference error. It is showing undefined. So now here in this case, it is displaying that undefined. JavaScript moves all variable declarations to the top within the scope. ఇప్పుడు మన గ్లోబల్ స్కోప్ లో ఉన్నాం కదా, గ్లోబల్ స్కోప్ లో ఇట్ hoists all variable declarations and functional declarations to the టాప్ మూవ్ చేసేస్తాం. సో అందుకే ఇక్కడ ఏంటంటే బిఫోర్ డిక్లేరింగ్ ది వేరియబుల్, ఈవెన్ ఇఫ్ యూ ట్రై టు యూజ్ ఇట్, ఇట్ ఈస్ డిస్ప్లేయింగ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ అన్డిఫైన్డ్. అయితే hoisting moves only the declaration, not the value. ఇక్కడ వాల్యూ 100 ఉంది కదా, 100 రావట్లేదు, ఇది అన్డిఫైన్డ్ అని వస్తుంది, ఓన్లీ డిక్లరేషన్. ఇన్ అదర్ వర్డ్స్ వీ కెన్ సే hoisted variables are initialized to undefined. Hoisted variables are initialized to undefined. In the same way, let us say I have a function like this here. Function, something like show. I'm printing that console.log b, and here I'm printing that variable b equal to 100. If I call the function show, so what will be the b value it is going to print? Undefined. If I remove this var, how much it is going to print now? How much? 100 it will print. Where was the b is not defined? Okay, ఇది a కదా, sorry. Let me write this a. Let me write this a. Okay. So now it is 100. Reason ఏంటంటే when you are not using var keyword, this is a global variable. If it is a global variable, already 100 is initialized to global variable. So first it will print 100, then we are changing value to 200. ఒకవేళ var keyword యూజ్ చేశారనుకోండి, var keyword యూజ్ చేస్తే now it is become as a local variable. Local variable means here hoisting will work. Hoisting means it moves to the top within the function. It moves to the top within the function, right? So this is show function. అంటే hoisting, అంటే జావాస్క్రిప్ట్ hoisting will work within the scope. అంటే ఇది ఇక్కడ ఇది గ్లోబల్లో మూవ్ అవట్లా, ఈ ఫంక్షన్ లో టాప్ మూవ్ అవుతుంది. Within the function it is moving to the top. Global గా టాప్ మూవ్ అవట్లా, within the function it is moving to the top. So variable hoisting, it moves the declaration of a variable to the top within the scope. To the top within the scope. Okay, that is one thing. అంటే డిఫైన్ చేయకుండా కూడా వేరియబుల్స్ వాడేసుకోవచ్చు. లెటర్ యూ కెన్ డిఫైన్ దమ్. లాస్ట్ లో మనం ఏ వేరియబుల్స్ అంటే రెఫరెన్స్ వస్తే లాస్ట్ లో డిఫైన్ చేయొచ్చు. పెద్ద కోడ్ ఉంది, ఎక్కడ వాడాము ఏంటి ఎత్తుకోవట్లేదు, గో టు ది ఎండ్ ఆఫ్ ది పేజ్ అండ్ డిక్లేర్ ఇట్. అలా ఫంక్షన్స్ కూడా నేను ఏం చేస్తానంటే ఫంక్షన్ సే సంథింగ్ లైక్ డిస్ప్లే. నౌ దిస్ ఈస్ ఎ డిస్ప్లే ఫంక్షన్. బిఫోర్ డిఫైనింగ్ ది ఫంక్షన్ ఐఎమ్ కాలింగ్ ఇట్. సో ఫంక్షన్స్ ఆల్సో కెన్ బి hoisted. It will work. This is display function. Not only the variables, even the functions also hoisted. Okay. So this is about hoisting in the JavaScript. Okay.